Today's message from Reverend Christian Sorensen was recorded October 9th, 2016. It's titled, Accepting Your Abundance, subtitled, Reclaim Your Power. Begin to say, I am taking back the power in my life and accepting the blessings in my life all around me. Come visit us at seasidecenter.org or join us in Encinitas, California sometime, where we always have great music, a spirited message, and a joyful, loving, vibrant community that awaits you.
Feel the joy, feel the peace, and the comfort of home, 'cause all are welcome here. Yes, all are welcome
Wow, and that was a class project. That's pretty good. So those of you that are in foundation class right now, you know, the bar has been set for your class project. We just fully expect such majesty coming from all of you. Anyway, hey, how fun. What a perfect song for this morning, Marianne. That was just like, you claim it, you know it, and so it is. That is what our prayer and treatment is all about, and it's perfect for this morning's message about accepting your abundance. You claim it, you know it, and so it is. And so this morning is really about you coming to recognize what you've got to do is accept and claim your good and your abundance that is ever available. And so I love this season at Seaside. It's a season of prosperity. It is a time in which I'm going to assist us to just get into that wonderful affluent flow of life so you can be in that place of receiving the greater good because the good has already been given. It's all been given already, so what happens or needs to happen is you're the one who needs to see the good that is there already. Up for that? Good, because I remember this fun story. You may have heard it, but it was a cold day, a winter day in Washington, D.C., the metro system. A guy was playing the violin against the wall in the metro area there, and people, it was hustle and bustle during commuter traffic time, and so the people were just walking by, and few, would throw in a few coins, a couple people would throw in some dollars, but nobody, just stopped to take in the beauty of this violinist, and except for this one little 3-year-old kid who was just mesmerized. And it's like, Mom finally said, come on, you gotta go, let's go, we're running late. And so she pulled him along, and after 45 minutes of playing, he packed up his violin and he just disappeared off into the crowd. And what's interesting is that this was a social experiment that the Washington Post was doing, and this kid who was, not kid, but the guy who was playing was Joshua Bell, who is like the violin virtuosus of today. He was playing 6 Bach numbers that were extremely demanding to a level of excellence and magnificence that not just anybody can play. And just a few nights earlier, he had sold out the auditorium in Boston at $100 a seat. And there he was playing in the metro station in Washington, D.C., and no one stopped to listen. And the social experiment was wondering if people would recognize something that is beautiful and wonderful, or if it needed to be pointed out. Hey, guys, this is good stuff. But nobody knew except a 3-year-old kid. And so what I'm asking you, are you able to notice your good that is there right now? This guy was playing a Stradivarius violin that was worth nearly $4 million, like nobody on this planet can play, and nobody stopped. Are you stopping for your good and accepting what's already been given to you, or do you have this concept? This is what prosperity looks like. This is what abundance looks like. It's this much in my financial accounts, and it is in a relationship of this kind of status and this kind of job. And yes, it's all those things. You're entitled to have an abundance in your financial accounts. Being concerned about money is not what you're in this world to do. If your mind is filled with that, that's not abundance. That's not financial freedom. Financial freedom is your ability to move across this country and this world as you please. It's a freedom to be able to come and go and the ability to be able to do that. It's peaking health. It's about having a body that works. that is healthy, that's not breaking down, that is vibrant and alive, so it can say, yes, I'm not bound or chained to a job, but I am free to live my passion and move in this world and share that which I came here for. But what happens is like we get, boom, smacked with something, and we begin to think that it doesn't quite look like that for me, and forget to accept that, you know what, it's my attitude that's going to make the difference about my body, about my life, about my relationships, about my career, about my passion, about my dharma, about my self-expression. You've got to be the one who accepts your abundance because, like that virtuoso violinist is playing right there in front of you right now. But you're the one that says, hey, count me in on that. But something happened, and we closed down to it. Well, I got to be on time. I got to get there. I can't be here because I got to get there, and I miss out on the good that is here. Mark Twain, I like this story or analogy, where he said that if a cat sits on a hot stove, he will never sit on a hot stove again. But nor will he ever sit on a cold stove either again. And it makes me think that, just because we had an experience, we extrapolated out to think, you know what? I can't hot stove, cold stove, not going to try this. I'm never going to do that again. And what happens is we begin to close down and say, I'm never going to try this again. Well, you're not supposed to stick your hand in the fire twice, but if all of a sudden you close down with even being in the kitchen, if all of a sudden you close down in your life because you had an experience that wasn't positive here, and you say, I'm never going to do this again, you begin to put a lid on being able to accept the greater good that is here. I'm never going to do this again, or it's never been tried, or whatever the story and scenario is that begins to conjure up the doubts in your thinking. And granted, doubts are natural. Doubts are part of the human experience. But the challenge is when we begin to obsess about our doubts, because an expert said, I know your body's breaking down, or your financial planner, or whatever, and you begin to obsess about these doubts, and you begin to hold on to them, and you claim them, and you think them, and you begin to make them real for your doubt, for yourself. What you do with doubts is you go to the mountaintop. You go to that higher perspective, and you begin to ask yourself, so who's thinking the doubts here? Okay, it's right. It's my mind that's thinking the doubts. I'm not thinking the doubts because I'm watching my mind thinking these doubts. These doubts are not my reality. And what I want to do is begin to take my focus and put it on my awareness, which is noticing the doubts are down here. And you notice them like clouds in the sky. They come, and you don't have to claim them, but you do if you obsess with them, then they're yours, and good luck at 3 a.m. But you know what? The clouds just kind of move through. The doubts just move through. You got to let them move out. You got to move beyond what you thought it had to be a certain way. We get fixed. And I listen to people all the time. We're talking about abundance. They say, but yeah, Christian, I live on a fixed income. And I say, and who fixed it? If it's not working for you, it sounds like it's broken. It's not fixed. It's like you live in a world with infinite realms of possibilities. There's multiple streams from infinite spots in this omnipresent expression that is seeking to express into form through you. You're the spiritual nexus. You're like the hub in the spokes of a wheel, and you got all these streams of good that want to pour, and all you got to do is accept this one, accept this one. Nope, I've got fixed income. I sat on the stove and it's hot, and this is just the way it's going to be, and I'm not going to explore anymore, and that's just how it seems to be. And so I'm living with this closed-mindedness that begins to substantiate itself in my life. There was this British guy, high society. He was part of the British Buddhist Society. But he was very snooty about it, I guess. But he went to Thailand to study with a Buddhist master teacher, and they were talking, and the master teacher asked him, do you meditate a lot? He said, well, I really don't have time to do that. I'm so busy reading all about the practices and the lessons and the information. And the teacher said, well, that's kind of like a man who has a yard full of chickens, and he's out there picking up the chicken poop instead of the eggs, we got that, We got the principles. What we have got to do is accept right? We've got to accept the good that is here and accept it and apply it and experience it and share it and live it, not keep it up here in the head of doubts and questions and fixations. We're living in an abundant universe, and the good is seeking to express through you. Catherine Ponder, she was considered like the prosperity guru for years before all the big guys showed up. But she wrote this great affirmation that has helped thousands of people, and it says, I give thanks that the universal spirit of prosperity is providing richly for me. Can you say that with me? I give thanks that the universal spirit of prosperity is providing richly for it. Touch your heart and say it again. I give thanks that the universal spirit of prosperity is providing richly for me now. How does that feel? That's what you got to believe is so, because you're, okay, I know that's true for you. It's omnipresent. It's providing richly. On the nexus, it is take pictures, check in, let people know where you are today. It is happening at Seaside. It's going on here. Because it goes on everywhere. See, that's the key. You've got to recognize you can't be in a tough spot and realize, well, there's no good to accept here. It's right. It's good as everywhere. Yeah, there was this metaphysician. He went to this religious conference over in Rome. He made friends with a cardinal, and the cardinal invited him to the Vatican. He got to check it out, and he went into one of the rooms, and he saw this gold phone sitting on the table. And he asked the cardinal, what's that? The cardinal says, yes, that phone is a direct line to God. And you can use it. It's very expensive. It's $100 because it's a long distance call. Well, a few months later, the cardinal was visiting the metaphysician in his spiritual centers, something like this. And he saw a phone sitting on the back corner of the desk, but it was very used, old, far from gold. It was, one of those probably tacky plastic ones. But he said, what's that? He said, yeah, we too have a phone, and we too have a direct line to God. And he said, well, how much does it cost? He said, it doesn't cost anything. It's a local call. You get to decide if your connection with Spirit is going to be a long ways, long road, long haul, or if it's right here. If you're going to have to pay dearly, or if what I've got to do is begin to just accept my greater good that is available to me here. I've got to begin to accept that it's here. Love this childhood fable about a man who was living in kind of impoverished life. He really didn't have a place to live. He didn't make enough for food. It was winter. His clothes were threadbare. Just wasn't happy. And so he made a decision that he was going to go find God and ask God for good fortune. And so as he took off and went out into the woods, out in the ways, he came across this beautiful maiden who was out in her gorgeous garden, and she was just working. She offered lunch, and they talked and asked him where he was going. He said, well, I'm going to go ask God for good fortune because things aren't quite working for me. And he said, hey, would you ask God for good fortune for me? I'm living out here in this beautiful house. I got these fine clothes and beautiful, but I don't have a partner. I don't have a companion to be with. And he said, yeah, I'll do that. And so he went a little bit further into the woods, and then he came across this tree that was kind of gnarled, and just the leaves weren't green, and it wasn't in good shape, and it's right next to a nice river. And he found shade under there, and he told the tree he was going to find God to ask good fortune. The tree said, hey, would you please ask God for good fortune for me? Because look at my leaves. They're never green, not even in the spring. I need some help. The guy said, sure, no problem. And as he worked, another day he came across a wolf, a lone wolf, who said when he heard the guy's story that, you know what? I could use good fortune too. I got kicked out as a wolf cub, and I'm a lone wolf. I don't have any friends to hunt with, to hang out with. And the guy said, hey, no problem, I'll ask him. So the guy spent more days looking for God. He finally found God and got to God and said, God, I just came to you for good fortune. Could you help me? And my friends too. And he told him about the maiden, the tree, and the wolf. And God said, good fortune is yours. And for all of them, it is right there to accept. And so the guy went back and he came across the wolf, and he told the wolf that God is going to bring him good fortune. And the wolf said, it must be you. You're the guy who's my good fortune. He said, no, it's not me. I've got to go find my good fortune. And so he left the wolf all alone, and he got to the tree, and he said, he said, God has granted you good fortune. He said, you know what? good fortune is coming your way because underneath your roots is this treasure chest, and it is filled with gold. And all somebody has to do is take it out so your roots can get the water and drink it again. And the tree said, oh, this is so good. Would you take that treasure chest? You can have all the gold. He said, no, I'm busy. I got to go find my good fortune. And he gets to this maiden and says, you know what? God says good fortune's coming your way. And she said, you must be him. And he said, no, I've got to go find my good fortune. And off he went to look. Well, a year goes by. Guy doesn't find his good fortune. And so he heads back. And you can guess the maiden said, I haven't got it either. Can I go with you? I got something to talk to God about. And he found the tree. The tree said, take a branch of mine because nothing's happening here. And he gets the wolf. Wolf says, hey, nobody to hunt and play with. And they go to God, and God looks at them as they share their stories, and he just laughs. Just laughs, and they look at each other and go, we got it. We got it. How come we don't get it in our life? I mean, is there a spot, possibly, that you might still be looking for some good fortune in your world, where actually all you have to do is accept your blessings now, accept your abundant good now, because now is the appointed time, which is what we're told through all the great spiritual texts. Now is the appointed time. And so sometimes we just need to, forgive ourselves. It's like, gosh, I've blown it up to now. I believed all kitchens were just too hot to go into, so I haven't even bothered going into the house, Or however, we have extrapolated it out to the point where we have blown it out of proportion because we have obsessed around our doubts and our fears as opposed to accepting the good that is here now. And anybody who wants to practice this week, I want to just honor all those that are practicing Yom Kippur that starts on Tuesday evening at sundown, that time where you connect with Spirit and God and just, atonement. You say, bring me back into alignment. I'm just so sorry in which I've done Spirit wrong, life wrong, people wrong. It's that time of the year. It's that day. It's the highest of the holy holidays where you just say, I'm sorry. I just let it go. I've done my best, and I'm going to be better. Because supposedly the book is closed, and you set your track, your vibration, your consciousness for the next year. And so take the time and connect and to feel what's going on. Because I'll tell you what, as difficult as a moment may be, I want you to know that even if you're lost in that moment or time, there's always tomorrow. It kind of feels good, doesn't it? If today is yuck, you've always got the future. Though we're not necessarily living for the future, but I watch people like polishing the past. Well, the past was so good or it was so bad, and just keep it alive. What we want to do is create a life today so our memories are blessings for tomorrow. Create the wonder and the gifts today so our memories are blessings for our future, so it is exciting to live in it and recognize that you got what it takes. Don't allow people's predictions to be anything less than empowering for you. That includes your own predictions of your life. Don't accept any predictions about your life that is anything less than empowering. I've been, a couple times a year, I'll give up coffee for a couple months. No great reason other than to show my body is stronger than caffeine, I guess. And I've been drinking the good earth tea that comes with these little messages from Buddha or Socrates or Confucius. But I got one just the other day from Catwoman. And I don't know if it's Holly Berry who was Catwoman who said this or who said it, but the visual. Anyway, she said, to live a life untamed and unafraid is the gift that I have received. And so now the journey begins. So now your journey begins. Can you live an untamed, unafraid life? Can you let go of those doubts that may give you some good insights? You may learn about your life, but don't let them catch your mind so you're using your energy to obsess about it, because that which you begin to be reactionary to, what you react to, you give your power to. And the strange thing about when you give your power to something, that becomes the very experience. That which has your power becomes the experience you get to experience in your life. Right? So that which you react to is where you give your power, and you get to live where you give your power. It just doesn't quite work very well that way. And so what you want to do is reclaim your power. Begin to say, you know what? I am taking back the power in my life, and begin to accept the blessings that are all around me. I can go off looking for God, and all I'm going to get is Christian. Open your eyes and look at your beloved in the eyes. And how much more golden can that get? Open your eyes and look at the blessings and the richness that you have. right where you are. But you know what? The world's, it's blowing up. Well, I sometimes that comes to mind and go, this is bad. I remember a clip or video from the 80s when Mother Teresa decided she was going to go into the warring area of Beirut in Lebanon. Remember when the war was going on? They got the factions fighting. It was just nasty stuff. And she said, there's a hospital filled with kids, and they need to be rescued and taken out of there. And she said, I'm going in. And so, the cameras got her, and because of her commitment, both sides agreed to a ceasefire long enough. And the cameras just show her drive. Well, she probably wasn't driving. She had a driver, I'm sure. But anyway, the trucks drove in. The nuns got out of the trucks. They ran in. They got all the children out of the hospital. They jumped in the truck. And as they were driving out of town, the video got the war starting back up right behind them. But it goes to show you the power of one person connected with God can stop a war. One person connected can offset hundreds, millions that aren't connected. Mahatma Gandhi said that pure, unadulterated love will nullify the hatred of millions. That's the power that is available to you to accept at any moment if you want to experience the transformation in your life. And yes, there may be doubts and obstacles and moments where you're totally oblivious to the excellent virtuosus violinist playing right there or God's gifts. But you know what? Oftentimes those obstacles are what have you open your eyes, because you begin to dig down a little bit deeper. And the difference between an obstacle and an opportunity is attitude. It is your attitude that says, this crisis is really prosperity in disguise. This challenge is really going to lift me higher. Great leaders are created in the times of tension and challenge or war. Lincoln really didn't become famous until the Civil War called forth the greatness inside of him. He pretty much lost all the elections other than the presidency until he got there. Kennedy really didn't become of that great stature until he faced down the Cuban Missile Crisis. A lot of times the leaders in our world are not really exposed until there's something that just allows them to be seen, a catalyst. In the forest fires, what pops a lot of those pine trees, and so now they can push through the soil because their shell has been cracked by the fire, and they push through the rocky soil, the mountains, and then they got to weather and dance through the storms, the winter, and the snow, but that's what makes the fiber tough in their trees to grow tall and magnificent. It's those challenges that allow us to step into a new place if you're looking at them as opportunities to accept the greatness and the abundance of God that is present. You want to fly a kite? You don't fly it with the wind, do you? All kids know that kites fly against the wind and it will lift them up. You want to fly a plane? You take off into the wind. Big, tons of 747. They take off into the wind. It's as you are willing to step into that turbulence or that uplift that the opportunity begins to reveal itself. Thomas Edison said, there are more opportunities than there are people to even see them. They're there. Are you able to accept your abundance? Are you able to accept the opportunity that might look like a challenge? I heard someone say, there's plenty of serenity in the cemetery. I'll take opportunity any day. Yeah. So Goliath, big giant. The Israeli nation, they looked at this guy and said, man, he is too big to kill. And David looked at him and said, he's too big to miss. Where's your attitude? Where's your adjustment going on in your life? What are you doing with what is presenting? And you know what? There may be just a message that comes flirting through your world briefly. Maybe a person who just graces your world for a semester or for a class, or maybe just a student in a class who speaks. But those little pieces in your life is part of that journey that Catwoman was talking about. Let the journey begin. It's about that which is integrated. So often we're looking for the big thing. But I'll tell you, if you've ever built a house, you'll realize it's built by individuals who come in there and spend maybe a week. For us, I can remember the guy putting in the banister around our stairway, a very important aspect so people don't fall and break their neck. But he spent only a week, but it's important. Or the plumber, they come in for a week and, put your plumbing in order, and then they're gone. And how long does it build a house? 9 months, a year, if you're lucky, without too many hassles. The electrician, a week. I remember the people doing our the frame the place. I can't believe how quickly a house is framed. Those guys probably did it in a week. And Callie and I would go there every day, writing affirmations all over the 2x4s around the house, with the positive blessings in there. We couldn't do it fast enough before they put the drywall in. What I'm getting at is, you have these subcontractors, or you have these individuals that come through your world for a week, a month, a year, a season, and they may not be there forever, but they are an important part of the totality of the house or the home or the life that you are building. And you don't just brush them off. It's like, wow, thank you, God. I've accepted the good that is important to the totality of the creation of my expression here in life. And as I begin to recognize these little pieces are part of that whole, I really am living in the omnipresent, omniscient, all-knowing, powerful expression of God, and it's not somewhere far off. It is right here for me to accept now, whether it's in the midst of a crowded, noisy subway, whether it's in the midst of a challenge in my life, that presence is there, and it's not out there when I'm in the midst of the doubt and the concern, but rather, it's here. I'm not praying to Spirit, bail me out of this. It's, God, let me see. Let me accept the good that you're telling me this is an opportunity. I call it a challenge, a problem, difficulty, not good. But if you're saying, you're here too, then let me see, because you're omnipresent. And we think, well, God's inside. God is within. We hear that. But, that kind of conjures up that, I got like this hollow area inside with a little cap. I got God in there. I just got to pull out a piece. God to do it back in there. And out it goes. Think of it. God's not really within this body, and it's not without. God is omnipresent and is everywhere. There is no place that God is not. So right where I am the fullness of Spirit. So when Jesus said, God is within, it was more metaphorical in the sense that, it's God as me. It's God as my body. It is God as my awareness. It is God as my mind. It is God as my thinking. It's like if you had a gold pen. It's like the gold is in the mold of a pen, and that pen has all the qualities of gold. There's gold within the pen, but it's like the pen has all the qualities of gold. I mean, it's like there's no differentiation. The gold took the mold or the shape of the pen, but it's all gold. It's all the qualities that gold is. Well, we're like the same way. It's not like there's little gold in the pen. The pen is gold. It's not like there's little God in Christian or in you. It is, it's like I'm the gold, I'm the God, I'm the expression, I'm the light, and it's taken this form, it's taken this shape, and it says, I come to recognize this, that the healing happens. The shift happens. It's as if I had a diamond, nice diamond, but I thought it was a rhinestone. I got a rhinestone, nice rhinestone, really nice rhinestone. I like this, top quality rhinestone. I believe it's a rhinestone. Just because I believe it's a rhinestone doesn't make it not a diamond. It's still a diamond, but I believe it's a rhinestone. So I take my beautiful fancy rhinestone to the diamond master or whoever does diamond broker, and he takes a look at my rhinestone and says, Christian, that's a diamond. I go, cool. It's now a diamond. What happened to the rhinestone? There was never a rhinestone. There was no rhinestone. But I thought it was a rhinestone. I believed it was a rhinestone. But it was never a rhinestone. Do you get that? There wasn't a problem. It was always a diamond. The finite perception was within me. I couldn't accept the truth here. It didn't make it any less a diamond when I thought it was a rhinestone. It was still a diamond. Well, in our life, when we're having the difficulty or the challenge or the pain at work or in our body or in finances, and all of a sudden we begin to look at this appearance, we're thinking it's a rhinestone when the truth is it's God. It's spirit, but I think it's a rhinestone. No, it's still God. I can think it's a rhinestone, but it's my limited perception that says I am sick or that I got cancer or there's a financial challenge or the relationship is in question or whatever it is. That's my limited perception that it's a rhinestone when the truth is it's a diamond. And so when I go to pray, so often what happens, people pray to the appearance of the rhinestone, be gone. And it disappears. What happened to it? It never was there. So in our life, when we got that problem going on and we end up praying to the problem, we are empowering it. We are believing in the prediction that doesn't empower us. And so we pray to the appearance to be gone, and it never is there. Though I may believe it is. I got doctors that say it is and financial statements that say it. But that's not the truth. Spirit is abundant, right? Isn't it? Spirit is wholeness, right? And I am part of the totality of that, right? You guys have been following me this morning. It sounds like this is good. You get where I'm going. The truth of you just needs to be accepted. Can you do that? Okay, then I got an assignment for you. It's my challenge. Because, you look at everybody, you can see the face of God now, right? We know the truth. So what I want you to do today is you go home, and when you look in the mirror, because I know you're going to look in the mirror, I want you to really look into the mirror, and I want you to see the face of God and accept that truth of you. God bless you.
Such a long way home from where you have been. And what will it take to bring you back again? And all your searching's brought you to this place. You cry for mercy and you long for grace. Feel the love, feel the light. Won't you come in from the cold? 'Cause all are welcome here. Feel the joy, feel the peace, and the comfort of home. 'Cause all are welcome here. Yes, all are welcome here. Can you hear the sound, the whisper in your soul that calls you back to where you belong? And all your searching's brought you to this place. You cry for mercy and you long for grace. Feel the love, feel the light. Won't you come in from the cold? 'Cause all are welcome here. Feel the joy, feel the peace, and the comfort of home. 'Cause all are welcome here. Yes, all are welcome here. Behold the love. Behold the light in your mind, in your heart, in your soul. In your mind, in your heart, in your soul. In your mind, in your heart, in your soul. And all your searchings brought you to this place. You cry for mercy and you long for grace. Feel the love, feel the light. Won't you come in from the cold? 'Cause all are welcome here. Feel the joy, feel the peace, and the comfort of home. 'Cause all are welcome here. Yes, all are welcome here. Here.
All Are Welcome Here, from the album Path of Light, was co-written by Peggy Lebo and Reverend Christian Sorensen. It's available at www.peggylebo.com.